And welcome back to the show. The White House now downplaying what many analysts are calling a snub by the King of Saudi Arabia. Only 2 days after the White House said King Salman would be attending the Gulf Cooperation Council Summit at Camp David, the Saudis announced he was sending the Crown Prince instead.
Given what's going on in Yemen, the imminent start of a ceasefire, hopefully, if the Houthis agree to it there, the king made this decision, as the Saudis have spoken to. And again, they're sending their crown prince, their deputy crown prince. They're in charge of intelligence, defense. Mohammed bin Nayef has had Oval Office meetings, certainly with the president.
I know that there have been some speculation that this change in travel plans was an attempt to send a message to the United States. If so, that message was not received. Because all the feedback that we've received from the Saudis has been positive.
Now, no word that Marie Harf and Mr. Ernest were actually king and queen of the Sigma Chi Delta Delta Delta. Can I help you, help you, help you?
Let's get Seymour Hersh on that.
Yes, we should, absolutely. I want to know. Anyway, Saudi Arabia has complained for years that Washington does not take its concerns seriously. It thinks a focus on settling the dispute over Tehran's nuclear program has distracted the United States from more urgent problems. The Saudis believe Iranian support for proxy militias, in Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and Yemen is the biggest cause of regional instability. They contend that inflames sectarian tensions and boosts Sunni Muslim jihadists. But it's not just the leader of Saudi Arabia who's skipping out on the Camp David summit. The heads of Bahrain and Oman and actually 4 of 6 countries will not be attending with their highest level leaders, instead sending lower level officials instead. So what does all this mean for our nuclear talks with Iran and relations with the Gulf countries? Snubbing the summit, I go to you first, Ms. Hanson.
Listen, I think it looks awfully, awfully bad. I think that the relationship has not been the greatest. I think that the Saudi Arabians especially have felt as though President Obama is judgmental about the way that they, handle human rights issues, and he may have a right to be. But I think that it certainly shows a lack of respect for him. It shows a lack of feeling, the Wall Street Journal reported today that they feel as though the issues just aren't narrowed enough to make it worth their while to come. And I think that that really shows a problem for this deal with Iran.
You think, is it a lack of respect for President Obama, or is it more a lack of respect for the deal? They just don't like it.
I think it's both, but I think one stems from the other. I think that the deal has just been the straw that broke the camel's back as far as the lack of respect that goes both ways.
And yet we still don't have a deal, but apparently...
This is so one of those things where, depending on what side you tend to lean, you come down there. I mean, you may be right. You really may. I mean, we have absolutely no way of knowing at this point. You could certainly make the argument, everything Heather just said is correct, that you could just as easily make the argument that the guy is old. He met last week with Kerry, so it wasn't like he was blowing off the Secretary of State.
But he said he was coming originally.
He did. He's like an old guy. I don't know. It may be
you're
a
saying
snub.
that the brain is gone, and he's, I think I'm coming. Wait, did I say it was 7-Eleven or USA?
He may have the flu. I mean, you just don't know what he decided to do. I think it's a leap based on absolutely nothing to say that it was a snub. We've yet to get anything. We may get something where he says something. I think another issue may be, if you look at who agreed to attend it, aside from him, he may have very well decided there's not enough of my fellow leaders from the area to justify me going. And that actually would, to me, be a more rational reason to do it. Saudi Arabia can never afford. I mean, if you want to set aside the politics, Saudi Arabia can never afford, and this is completely inarguable, to snub the United States. So I think the snub thing's pushing it. I do.
But if they're not happy with the Iran deal, and they are forming a closer alliance with Israel and with Egypt, right? Which is, I mean, good thing for the Middle East. But isn't that a result of them not being happy?
Who gives them all the money? Israel or us?
But isn't that a result of them not being happy with the direction of the Iran deal?
They could hate it, and I think they do hate it. That's not. They're not going to snub us, believe me.
So you don't think this was a snub at all?
No, I think, my personal opinion, forgetting everything that there is to see, which isn't much, I really think he looked at who was attending and said, wait a minute, the other guys are sending their top dignitaries, they're not coming, So why am I going?
Well, Bahrain, is that how you say that?
Yeah.
They backed out after he did.
Bahrain.
Yeah, but who cares? I mean, I don't mean to
And
be
wasn't he
disrespectful
supposed to
about
meet
Bahrain.
with King Salman? He was supposed to meet a one-on-one with President Obama the day before,
Yeah.
which so that is kind of a pretty big deal to back out of that.
Yeah.
And I also
it's
think
not
in that
really.
culture, there's a
Not
lot
really.
to be said for the courtesies like this and what things look like.
You
And
mean
I
they're not
think
going to be able to hold hands in Washington?
no, I think you're right. I mean, I think ultimately they need us too much to do
Yeah.
anything major. But I also do think that appearances are very important. That the routine, these types
But
of
wouldn't, if you wanted to send a message, wouldn't he have blown off? I mean, you don't meet with the Secretary of State and not meet with his boss if you're trying to send a message.
right, but you met
we're
with the
ticked
Secretary
off
of
at
State,
you.
someone that's local for you, as opposed to
Maybe
coming
local,
here.
but you don't have to meet with him.
I think that there's a very strong argument that it's due to. I mean, it's
Probably strong arguments going
Right, but
both
either way,
ways,
yeah.
and none of us really know.
There are certain friends that when they come to me, I'll see them, but I won't
Right.
travel more
Right.
than 15 minutes to go out of my way to see them.
true.
I
Wanna
do
come
have
to my
a
house?
yes, I do have a theory around this though. All right, oil prices are way down.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? The money isn't coming into countries like Saudi Arabia like it used to.
He can't afford it,
He
man.
can't afford it. He has to fly coach. And if you get the middle seat at his age with that bladder,
You know what he said? He said, "Oi, it's like it's not worth it."
to get all. I mean, have you ever flown there before? That area with 10-hour
let alone coach.
Yeah.
God
Yeah,
forbid.
forget it.
I'd
But
be
isn't
with
he sending
him.
two
So-
instead? So those two
I
poor
would,
guys.
I would just point out that he is a big part of the reason that oil prices are so low.
You think so?
I know so. He's allowing it to happen.
Right.
How does that benefit?
Because he's trying to. This is a whole other
Choke
conversation.
Iran type of thing?
But quickly, no, he's trying to choke us. He's trying to make the prices of oil so low that our oil producers, who are about to put him in a bad position, won't be able to afford to drill
Oh
oil.
wow!
That's really what.
Well,
that's
either
all
way,
about.
I like it right now because I
Right.
can actually
Yeah,
fill my
right,
tank for
right.
less than $60. So anyway, coming up next, did Dr. Ben Carson compare the U.S. to Nazi Germany? Of course he did. And who does former Governor Jeb Bush turn to for advice? Rick, we'll be right out after the break. Don't go anywhere.